Welcome to another conversation off the clock. Hi, I'm Carmina Constantino Torres, and this is Casey After Hours.
Because they have identified me as one of the driving force dito sa habol sa mga Duterte, no, to make them accountable. Kung kaya ko siyang suhulan sila, don't you think sila Duterte ginawa yun? And they can offer so much more than I can offer. Alam niyo naman, pag umabot ang isang tao sa cult following level, hindi na basta-basta maniniwala yan. Yung interest lang niya, yung pinaglalaban niya, hindi naman talaga siya galit sa korupsyon. He was so incompetent na hindi niya alam. Ako nga alam ko, I was there eh. Okay, hindi na raw talaga tatakbo. So what are we waiting for?
Ano na ba ang nangyayari sa ating bayan? Yan ang parating tanong ng mga nakalipas na araw, hindi ba? Marami ang nalalabuan. Pero ang klaro, isang pangalan ang parating nasasambit, anumang issue ang mabanggit. That name, former Senator Sonny Trillanes. Now why is that? From Duterte in The Hague to the flood control scandal to a sitting senator's botched arrest, controversy follows him. Or is he the one courting controversy? Kwentuhan bayan nga muna tayo with former Senator Sonny Trillanes. Senator Sonny Trillanes in the podcast. Maraming salamat. Thanks for joining us today.
Salamat din, Ms. Carmina.
Salamat sa pagkakataon na to. Alam ko ang dami niyong ginagawa. At kahit saan kayo pumunta, parang sinusundan kayo ng controversy. Parang lahat ng mga issue ngayon, yung flood control scandal nung nakaraang linggo, no? Na-mention yung name ninyo. Yeah. And then of course, Duterte in The Hague, there's the Bato arrest. And kahit na ngayon kung anong nangyayari sa Senado, simulan natin dun sa sinabi nung 18 Marines. Diba? Hindi na to bago.
Yeah.
Pero ano ang paliwanag nyo dun sa taong bayan?
It's an outright lie. Kasi talagang makita nyo, no? Ino-observe namin, they had 4 or 5 appearances, iba-ibang statement every single time. At this particular person, itong lumabas last time, nung una niyang statement, nagbigay siya sa residence ko. Sinabi niya with a straight face, 6 na maleta daw. Then this time, sinabi niya dun daw sa headquarters ng Magdalo. With a straight face din. So, yun na yun. That alone shatters the whole thing. Then early on, ang sinasabi na 2 maleta. Ang nakalagay daw sa isang maleta is $1 million. Isa, so $2 million. Ngayon, 6 na maleta. So, paano na ngayon to? $6 million na. Diba? Kumaga, they can't get the story straight. Ngayon, to answer your question, bakit ako natatarget na ganito? Because they have identified me as one of the driving force dito sa habol sa mga Duterte, no, to make them accountable. And these are very powerful people with evil intentions, not only for me but for the country. Kaya they won't stop, no? Sisiraan nila hindi lang ako, kundi yung ICC. Kasi nakita mo, very malicious. Ang purpose nila dito, dudungisan yung reputasyon ng ICC investigation. Then for sure gagamitin ito nung kanilang abogado sa The Hague to discredit the whole investigation na all of these things are compromised at gawa-gawa lang.
Alam natin yung sa ICC.
Yeah.
Obviously, basically ang sinasabi nila, your operations to bring those responsible to The Hague were funded by flood control money. Yun ang basically, di ba? Yun yung mga maleta.
Yes.
Galing doon. Alam natin na meron ka talagang personal involvement, no? Doon sa kaso sa laban kay former President Rodrigo Duterte. Yes. Alam din natin in our previous interview, you said that there was a shared goal to hold the Dutertes to account, no, sa The Hague with the palace. Which makes it to some believable na tatanggap ka ng pera to fund your operations.
Ganito po yan, These things did not start nitong Marcos administration. So what about nung mga panahon na yun? Di ba?
Almost 10 years na to,
Almost
di ba?
10 years. Then ito yan. They made a specific allegation. Kaya nga mali-maleta kasi supposed to be binigay ko sa ICC to bribe them. Hindi ba absurd yun? Paano naman yun? Tapos dollars. Those who have been traveling know na mahirap maglabas niyang ganyang kalalaking amount. Paano? Binigay ko daw para ituloy yung kaso. That's it eh. Ngayon, ito yung isipin nila. Bukod sa una-una siguro kung totoo yan, ang hihingi nila sa akin, EU, no? Yung euro. Di ba? Kasi ba't pa sila magpapapalit? Pero, ano yan? Kumaga, seriously, how can they, di ba? How can I even begin to offer or to bribe them? These are very, kumaga, professionals itong mga to. Europeans yan. Talagang hindi mo masusulan yan. And that goes to the next point, na kung kaya ko siyang suhulan sila, don't you think sila Duterte ginawa yun? And they can offer so much more than I can offer. So ano lang ito? This is a diversion, a distraction. Because ito, Ms. Carmina, this is not the first time they made such allegations against me. Remember, binenta ko rin yung Scarborough. Si Digong mismo nagsasabi nito. And they believed it, yung kanyang cult. Meron daw kong overseas bank accounts. Diba? Pinaniwalaan niya. Pati nga daw yung nagnakaw daw ako ng kubyertos sa Oakwood. Alam mo bang yung kanyang cult followers, they believe these things. They hold on to these things. And ito yung point, di ba? The 6 years na Duterte administration, kumaga, they comb through everything, lahat ng transactions ko, lahat, everything about my past. And they can't even come up with a single case that they can file against me. So, I'm not saying I'm an angel, di ba? Okay. But, as far as public service record is concerned, titindigan ko yan.
Ang sabi pa nga nila sa inyo, I don't know if you've heard this, pero meron ka ng moniker, ang tawag sa'yo, Trililing.
Yeah.
Na you're not in the right state of mind. Because for someone to be so obsessed to bring down the Dutertes, isa lang ang explanation nila doon, wala ka sa tamang pag-iisip. Anong komento nyo doon?
They will have to look at my whole public service record. And I can trace that. Nung nagsimula ako, pumasok ako sa public service when I entered PMA. For some reason, I ended up being the chairman of the honor committee. Yun yung nag-i-instill ng mga values such as not lie, cheat, steal, no? Nor tolerate those who do. Doon na nagsimula na yon nung events that led to the Oakwood incident, tapos nilabanan namin si Gloria. 7.5 years yun na nakakulong pa nga ako doon. So compared to itong ilang years under kay Duterte, mas mabigat yun. Diba? We were fighting a president behind bars. So, and your dad, si Sir RC, was with us in that fight against Gloria. So, yun eh. I think it's a cross between a crusade and an advocacy.
So it's not about being crazy and not being out of your mind.
Definitely not. At I believe you wouldn't be talking to me if I'm crazy, right? Siguro ganun lang.
Here's the thing though, Senator, kasi sa dami ng in-expose ninyo, sa dami ng sinasabi nyo laban sa mga Duterte at sa mga kaalyado nila, bakit sa tingin nyo? And I believe that, you're not just going about things unilaterally. Pati yung kaaway ninyo, people you're up against, inaaral nyo din po sila.
Yes.
So sa pag-aaral nyo at pagmamatsyag ninyo, why do you think many still support them?
I think nagkaroon ng kaibahan dun sa pagpasok ng social media. Dati kasi mainstream media ang primary source ng information. At sa mainstream media, meron kayong journalism ethics eh. 'Di ba? You don't go out deliberately saying outright lies, 'di ba? Fini-filter nyo yan, inaayos nyo yan. Kaso na nagkaroon na ng itong advent of social media age, nung inintroduce ng mga Dutertes ang fake news, 'di ba? To deceive people. Yan na, yung propaganda machinery nila. May troll farms yan sila. That's how Duterte won. Biruin mo, sa sobrang effective nung fake news factory nila, they were able to package Davao City as the safest city in the world. Ha? In the world, hindi ito in the Philippines lang. Pero based on records, nung time na yon, kasi dinidebunk ko yung statement na yon, according sa PNP mismo, Davao City is actually the most dangerous. Kasi number 1 siya sa murder at number 1 sa rape. Rape and murder ito. So how can they say that? Pero nakita mo sila Duterte, sila Cayetano, when they say it, they are so believable, ano? Kasi with conviction, at yung mga Pilipino noon, hindi sanay sa mga politikong nagbe-bare face lie. 'Di ba? Medyo umiikot-ikot pa. Pero this is the first time na ganon. So parang hawakan nila. They assume that these people should be telling the truth. Kaya ganon ang nahirapan kami. And because of that, nagkaroon ng aside dun sa ano nila, no, yung sa the whole government apparatus, when they got in, they turned it into a propaganda machine, ano, yung fake news factory nila. Tapos dahil diyan, from supporters naging cult followers. Alam niyo naman, pag umabot ang isang tao sa cult following level, hindi na basta-basta maniniwala yan. So, ang target namin dito, just keep on telling the truth. Makuha mo yung mga moderates, yung mga unay, mga neutral, mga then yung mga soft followers, then eventually, yung cult followers, ano na lang yan, they will fade away.
Is there a movement in the needle? Meron na ho ba kayong nakukuhang suporta mula dun sa soft, sa moderate?
Yes, we've been tracking this sa surveys. Similar to what we did with the former Vice President Binay. He started at around
70?
high 70%, low 80s%. So ganun kabigat yung ano nun. So when we were investigating, that's what we're up against. Pero non mainstream media lang. Kaya nung nire-report namin yung sa investigation, nire-report nyo, walang kumukontra in between. So nung eventually nung nire-report namin yung Hacienda Binay, it was so graphic. Nakita ng mga tao, ay totoo pala. So bumitaw na sila. Ngayon ang nahihirapan kasi, while nire-report ng mainstream media, pero yung kanilang fake news, sinasabi ganito, iba, ano yan, kasinungalingan yan, ganito. Iba yung So, dun sa algorithm nila, yun ang nakikita nila eh. Yung kanilang version of the truth.
Nabanggit niyo yung two familiar names, former Vice President Jojo Binay, also Senator Alan Peter Cayetano.
Yes.
Reminds me of that time. Mag-tag team po kayo nung ni Senator Alan.
Yeah.
Ano ang pagkakaiba dun sa ginawa niyo noon kay Vice President Binay sa ginagawa mo ngayon at sa ginagawa ni Senator Alan Peter ngayon?
I think ang pinakang difference dito, sa akin, I'm just being consistent with my advocacy. Magka-align yung interest namin noon, so kasama siya. Pero sa kanya, personal interest niya to be on the other side. So dito lumalabas, nung magkasama kami kay Binay, it was just convenient for him because it was aligned to his personal political interest. Pero ngayon, nung sumama siya doon sa puwersa na yon, lumabas yung tunay na kaanyuhan niya.
And what is that?
He is just for himself. No? Yung interest lang niya, yung pinaglalaban niya, hindi naman talaga siya galit sa korupsyon the way he projected himself nung investigation against VP Binay.
Hindi niyo ho nakita yon nung magkasama kayo kasi halos araw-araw kayo magkasama nun.
Alam nyo, if you would meet Senator Cayetano, Alan Cayetano, for the first time, madidisarm ka dyan. He is soft-spoken, tapos may religious na projection. pagkakain kayo niyan, may prayer before meals na nakapikit, tas hawak kamay pa kayo. So, alam niyo naman tayong mga Pilipino, growing up, pag kayo mga religious na mga tao, inaano niya yan nag-defer ka kasi you're not as religious as they are. So, parang binibigyan niyo sila ng konting respeto. Pero, later on, nakikita ko na may mga signs na he will say things na hindi niya talaga ginagawa. Yung outright lies na alam niya ng kasinungalingan pero sasabihan niya yan sa'yo with so much conviction na parang ikaw na magdududa sa sarili mo. Parang alam mo yun nga, that's the very definition of gaslighting. You would even doubt yourself kung parang ikaw ba yung mali kasi he speaks with so much conviction pero kasinungalingan.
Does it make sense to you now na you worked with him then and sabi mo nga you're just consistent, being consistent against corruption, but if you're consistent against corruption as you thought he was then as well, does it make sense to you now that all his actions seem to benefit the vice president now?
Yes, but even that is incidental. He is benefiting primarily himself, then ngayon aligned sila. Pero what I'm saying is at a certain point, magda-diverge din yung interest niyan. Then yung interest pa rin niya yung mangingibabaw. Kasi titignan nyo yung history ni Alan. Kasi nga, that's what we do. We profile people, we decode them para ma-predict namin where they're going, kung anong decision-making process nila. Pag trinace mo yan si Cayetano, alam mo ba nung start nung GMA administration, ano yan, panayang sip-sip niyan dun sa kay GMA tsaka kay Mike Arroyo, Tito Mike ang tawag niyan, yung ano yan, lalambing na ganon. I can imagine this guy growing up, ito yung, alam mo yung cute child na pasayaw-sayaw, yung he can always have his way, alam mo yun?
Bibo, ganyan.
Bibo na maglalambing, hihingi ko ano man na binibigay. So, ganon ito. He is confident that he can always talk himself into getting what he wants. So, ando doon yan. Nakuha nila yung support, nasama sa slate si Pia Cayetano, then pondo for the campaigns. Then when it was convenient for him to cut ties with the Arroyos because deadweight na, binira niya ng husto yun. Ngayon, ganun din with the Enriles. Growing up, tito-tito rin yan, ganyan. Then, when it was convenient, binira din niya. Diba? He also did that to Pinoy. Tapos, at some point, even kay Duterte, ginawa niya yon. Nung sa speakership niya, meron silang term sharing agreement
With Velasco.
So, when his term was about to finish, he lobbied kay Sara Duterte, pero inisnab siya, no? He was turned away. Punta siya ngayon kay Digong. Si Digong, sinasabihan siya na i-honor mo yung nyo.
Term sharing.
Kasi nga, si Lord Velasco, meron na rin silang areglo doon nung mga So siya, even siya, sinabihan na siya nung patron niya at that time. Pero dinify pa rin niya. When it's all about power, nag-iibang anyo nito.
Hunyango.
So ngayon, biruin mo, pinadlock niya yung session hall ng House. Just to prevent na mapalitan siya. He was buying some time because he was confident he can still talk his way into convincing Digong na manatili siya sa pwesto. So yan si Alan Cayetano.
But here's the thing, Senator Trillanes. What he's saying is he can go anytime. And he's only doing this not for himself but for the Constitution. Why should the Filipino people not believe or believe what he's saying? Hindi naman ito para sa kanya eh.
Yeah, yun na nga yung sinasabi niya. Di ba? Nakita niyo siya, no? Yung skill niya na ile-layer niya yung kanyang kasinungalingan with Bible verses, legal jargon, tapos and he would speak with conviction. very fluent siya mag-Tagalog, very fluent siya mag-English. So yung ano niya na yon, talent niya na yon, ginagamit niya. Kumaga, para nga mapagtakpan yung kasinungalingan.
Senator Ronald De La Rosa,
Yeah.
asa na siya?
Nandito pa rin siya sa Pilipinas, no? We're getting different reports na vina-validate namin carefully kasi ano yan mahirap magkamali dyan. But at least now, everybody's on the lookout. Ngayon, the most effective way sa pagkuha ng mga ganyang high-profile fugitives, magkaroon ng reward system. Yung, I wouldn't want to call it bounty, but technically that's how it is.
But why isn't the palace doing it?
It's within the agencies Dapat itong DILG secretary, yun ang gawin niya. Kasi yung intel funds, that's basically it. You're buying information. Diba? Alam nyo ilang Abu Sayyaf commanders ang ano niya? Biruin mo, mas mahirap hanapin yung mga yon. Armado pa yon. But when there's a reward, talagang nangyayari yon. So, hindi pa ginagawa. Kaya, maki-question ko tong si Secretary Remulla na baka hindi to seryosong hanapin ito.
Why do you think hindi seryoso aside from this? Nagkaroon na ho ba kayo ng doubts even before this
Yes,
happened?
because last year pa, nilik na nga nung kapatid niya Ombudsman Boying Remulla, na may warrant. Alam niya for a fact na may warrant kasi alam nung kapatid niya. Alam nung PNP chief na may warrant kasi pinapahanap na sa kanila noon pa, quietly. Hindi niya hinanap. Tapos nung nandoon na sa Senate, nung nagkagulo-gulo na, he was there. Kausap niya na. Sabi niya, he wasn't there to arrest. Bakit? 'Di ba? O sige, sabihin mo para to pacify the situation. Pero dapat naglagay ka ng detail doon
Sa labas.
Hindi lang sa labas, sa loob. Doon na sila Tapos yung labas, dapat nag-cordon ka na. Because sooner or later, that order for him to arrest Bato would come. 'Di ba? Pero talagang ganon. Pinabayaan.
Let's go back to that day, no? Nandun ka.
Yeah.
Hiniram mo yung warrant, pinakita mo. Sinabi mo, sinusunod mo lang naman yung hamon, no? Do you think that that contributed to the mayhem that happened that day? Na nakagulo kayo?
No. Because nung time na yon, nag-umano na siya Tumakas na siya doon sa mga arresting officers doon sa garahe. Tumakbo na siya. Tapos, nagpalit na ng Senate leadership. And by the way, side ko lang, si Senator Soto, nung nakita niyang may 30 na, he graciously stepped aside out of respect dun sa institution, di ba, yung tradition. Anyway, nung time na yon kasi, magulo na yung situation. They were trying to, the NBA was being prevented from arresting Bato. Tapos, yung public at large, the media, was confused. Ano ba yung, bakit inaaresto? Ano bang kon? Kaya, ako naman yung nakikita nila doon, o tinanong lang, Sir, bakit kayo nandito? At bakit inaaresto si Bato? So, doon ko in-explain. Kaya siya inaaresto kasi may ICC warrant.
But you knew about this.
Yeah, I knew about
You
that.
knew about it.
I knew about the Bato's appearance. I knew about the warrant, 'di ba? So, ang tanong doon, bakit hindi alam ni John B. Remulla?
Naniniwala kang hindi niya alam.
He was so incompetent na hindi niya alam. Ako nga alam ko, I was there. The NBI was there. Bakit hindi niya alam?
Pero ang sinasabi niya kasi, there was an order from the palace to stand down.
After na, nung Wednesday na yon, the Monday was the actual attempt to arrest. Doon siya tumakbo si Bato. That was a Monday.
So you knew that he was going to make his way to the Senate.
Yes, I knew. So ngayon, and alam ko rin na may warrant of arrest, alam ko rin na arestuhin siya. So, yung challenge niya sa akin, to be there when that happened. Then, I was there. Ngayon, imaginein mo yung point of view ng mga nanonood, tsaka yung media, bakit hinahabol si anong nangyari? So, nung sinabi ko, hindi, kasi meron na siyang arrest warrant yung ICC. Pero sabi nung media, pero a few days before, sabi lang nila, walang public warrant yung precisely. Wala siyang public warrant, pero meron siyang sealed warrant. Sir, pero ba kayong kopya, ganon. Pinakita ko. So, di ba? Doon lang nila naintindihan kaya kung bakit inaaresto si Bato because of the ICC warrant. Tapos, syempre, may mga medyang late dumating. Nakita lang nila, I was holding the ICC warrant. So, parang ako yung nagsaserve. So, ngayon, natural yung mga DDS followers, ganun na yung inisip nila. Parang akong
bakit ikaw
sheriff
arresting officer?
Parang ako yung sheriff. Ngayon, pinaniniwalaan na nung mga senador nila Marcoleta, ganun. Hindi. The ICC warrant was with the NBI the whole time. Nung inaaresto pa lang sa garahe.
Have you ever confronted Secretary Remulla about this? At anong intel mo kung bakit hindi niya inaresto noon pa man?
Ang tingin ko kasi dito, it's any or all of the three. It's either natatakot siya sa mga Dutertes, kinukort niya ayaw niya yung makuha yung wrath ng Duterte cult. Pangalawa, compromised siya, meaning he's playing both sides now, di ba? Playing both sides. Or pangatlo, he's grossly incompetent. And I believe it's all of the three.
Do you think the mayhem at the Senate when you appeared, do you think that cost you the job of DILG Secretary? Kasi bago pa man doon, may bulong-bulungan na po na ikaw na ang papalit kay Secretary Remulla.
Hindi naman po. Diyan lang siguro yung alingaw-ngaw sa social media. But there was never an offer for that.
But were you ever on the short list?
I wouldn't know. Personally, I wouldn't know. Ngayon ganito, if that would be the reason kung bakit hindi offer sa'yo, ibig sabihin, it was never mine to begin with. Kasi, gagawin ko pa rin yun all over, di ba? Kasi, alam niyo yung cathartic effect ng mapadala itong sila Digong, sila Bato, after all those years na pinapursue itong case. Yun It's not for me per se, kasi naman yan, but it's as a symbolism for all the effort. Hindi lang naman kasi ako nagsakripisyo nito. Maraming tumulong, maraming naging part nitong nito.
Because you know what you know now, at sabi mo may sarili ka rin namang intel, do you think it's only a matter of time before Senator De La Rosa gets arrested?
Not with Secretary Remulla at the helm. Hindi niya talaga alam gagawin niya. Ako nga, publicly, finofloat ko na, maglagay kayo ng reward. Gawin niyo yan. Mag-uunahan yan.
Kamakailan po isinulong nyo na sa publiko ang pagka-kandidato ni Senator Risa Ontiveros, Akbayan, Magdalo.
Yeah.
I had Senator Risa here in the podcast before, and she did say that whoever the opposition fields, she will support. There is a process.
Yeah.
But because this launch happened, this event happened, nangangahulugan ba na hindi na sumasa ilalim sa proseso at binubukod na ni Senator Risa ang kanyang sarili dito sa proseso ng oposisyon?
There is supposed to be this group na nag-oversee ng process at kinausap nila yung mga prospective candidates. So they asked Mayor Leni Robredo, and definitively, categorically, she said she won't run. Doon daw siya sa Naga, tatapusin niya in 3 terms, ako naman. Si Senator Bam is non-committal. Pinag-isipan pa, gano'n. So that leaves us with only one candidate left willing to submit to that process. So that short-circuited the whole thing. Wala nang pagpipilian. Kasi walang gusto sumali doon sa proseso except Senator Risa.
When you hatch this plan, hindi na ho kayo nakipag-usap doon sa grupo ni Mayor Leni, grupo ni Senbam. You just went on this unilaterally?
No. inantay namin yung decision nung mga we wanted to join that process. Nagsimula pa yun late last year. Oo. Wala eh. Sabi ko, teka muna, magkumagaan tayo na naman tayo. This is 2022 all over again. Ayaw na namin yan. So, pag nagsabi na, di tinanong. I think, nagtanungan sila sometime in March. At doon na yun, nalaman na, okay, hindi na raw talaga tatakbo. So, what are we waiting for? Eto na, let's go. Para lang masimula na to. So, nag-usap kami ng iba't ibang groups, Akbayan and the others. Tayo na, let's start the whole process kasi we would be overtaken by events.
When you say tayo na, was it just you? Or may basbas ito ni Sen. Risa?
Nung kaming mga groups, kasi kilala nyo naman si Senator Risa, she would be very, very gracious and kumaga may deference siya kay Mayor Lenny and the others. So, she wouldn't want to promote herself. Kaso sabi ko, hindi na to. Ang tanong, yung openness niya is enough for us.
I hear from other sources though, Senator Trillanes, that Mayor Lenny may just be waiting until the impeachment trial ends and there is still that chance that she will throw her hat into the ring. Pag nangyari po yun, anong gagawin ni Senator Risa?
Ganito, no? Yung mga nagsasabi kasi niyan, they are not speaking on behalf of Mayor Lenny. It's just a wishful thinking. Pag tinanong mo, nakausap mo ba? Hindi. Itong mga kumausap, there is a group of prominent personalities na tinanong siya directly. Parang nga mawala na yung agam-agam. Sinabi niya, I will not run. Period. Kayo lang yung makulit. Sinasabi ko na dati pa ayoko, yun na yan. So that was it. Respetuhin na natin yung decision, then yun. Yung kaaantay mo ng ganyan, kailan aabutin tayo next year, by then you have lost a year of preparation. Ground preparation, iba to, presidency ito.
How do you shed this veneer, no? Or hindi naman na siya veneer kasi yinakap naman talaga to ni Senator Risa, no? She still calls herself an activist kahit na nasa Senado na siya. Do you think people are ready for a left-leaning president?
Yun yung career path niya up to this point. Nung early on, when we had a conversation about yung willing to explore the possibility of running 2028, sinasabi ko yun na ang concern sa'yo is you are too progressive. Okay yan as a senator, as an advocate. Tama yan kasi kailangan mong i-push. But if you want to serve the country in general, you have to be mainstream. You have to be willing to accommodate to everyone. Hindi na lang yung pinopromote mo o tinutulak mo na sektor. Kasi ganun siya eh. Whether it's labor, women, LGBT,
children,
yun yung inaano niya, children. Pero ito kasi bagbuong Pilipinas, kailangan mong mainstream.
Anong sabi?
So sabi ko, that's a decision that she would have to make once ready na siya to jump into the ring.
People believe that the impending impeachment trial of the vice president is all about 2028 and the potential success or victory of the opposition. Ang sinasabi nila, kailangan lang matanggal ni VP Sara via an impeachment para wala ng kalaban pagdating ng 2028.
I would like to believe dalawa yan eh. Yung accountability and yung 2028. Kasi meron tayong mekanismo na impeachment eh, to make people accountable. Meron ba siyang ginawa? Inimbento ba namin itong mga issues na ito? Nakita nyo naman yung mga ebidensya ron. 257 congressmen endorsed it at the risk of their own lives. Kasi pag nanalo si Sara, durog din sila. 'Di ba? Kung nakita nilang malabnaw ito, hindi nila to. They won't even endorse it. 'Di ba? Ngayon, titingnan natin dito sa impeachment trial. Kung talaga ba nagkasala si Sara Duterte o hindi. Kami na nagtutulak nito, convinced kami na she doesn't deserve to be vice president. She doesn't deserve to be a public official even. So, kailangan niya managot dun sa mga kasalanan niya.
From a young PM mayor then to who you are now,
Yeah.
and your relentless fight against corruption, what gives you continued hope that one day you will be successful?
Kasi nangyari sa akin yon. Back in 2007, nakakulong ako, di ba? Tapos, sige, we wanted to serve again. So, tumakbo ako, di ba? Without access to media, walang pera, walang machinery, nothing, ino-oppress pa ng gobyerno. Pero nakachamba no? The people saw something at yun ang naging resulta. Nanalo ako at yun na ngayon, ay embrace ko yun. This is my way of giving back or paying back dun sa tiwala na binigay na yun. At nakita ko mangyayari ulit yun. Kasi nakita ko yung mga botante natin, the electorate, naghahangad sila ng pagbabago.
Sa lahat ng problemang napag-usapan natin ngayon, lahat ng mga balakid, pagtatanungin ho kayo, at sa lahat ng mga laban nyo na isinusulong, pagtatanungin po kayo, saan ba papunta ang bayan na to? Ano pong sagot ninyo?
Ako po, with what happened nung kay Pinoy, yun yung pinangahawakan ko. That it could happen to us. Merong makachamba tayo, then we will have a good 6 years na maayos natin institutions, asenso yung bansa, maraming Pilipino aahon mula sa kahirapan. We only need a succession plan na effective 3 terms, mawawipe out na yung mga evil elements na yan sa politika. Magkakaroon na tayo ng bagong standard ng mga public servants, public officials. So we need that. So yun ang pinangahawakan ko, yung na makakatsamba tayo. May mga tao lang talagang determined to deceive people. That's now the challenge for all of us na pwedeng magpamulat ng mga kababayan natin para mas konti ang mabudol sa 2028.
Senator Antonio Sonny Trillanes, thank you so much for joining us today. Maraming salamat po.
Maraming salamat, ma'am.
And that's it for another episode of KC After Hours. You know the drill. Like and subscribe. I'll see you on the next one.